trucks. I saw a guy doing it that was doing Uber Eats, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I kind of liked it. And I've seen people sitting in their cars, doing it, which is safer. But kind of thinking that this is probably a good way to do videos for me, because I do a lot of driving. I'm a pool salesman in Northern California. I've been selling pools for 40 years, but started with the company I'm with now 28 years ago. And I'm saying the same thing I tell everybody. I am not retiring. I have no desire to retire. My job is not that hard because I've been doing it for so long. And then it's also a job that we have guys at our company that are almost 80 years old that are still doing the job. Because there's a certain amount of enjoyment. Once you sell a pool, it's kind of like a high. And so you get a little high from selling it, the endorphins, I guess. And when you get good at something, it kind of makes it easy to do. So I don't see myself retiring. Just sitting around the house is super, super boring to me. So when I get a lead, and right now they're real slim, I want to get in the mode, and I want to get started like showtime. Let's get started. It's showtime. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about sales and just some things that I thought about. I used to listen to a lot of motivational stuff from Zig Ziglar and some of Brian Tracy and some of the other guys. And one of the things I wanted to talk about has to do with your problems. So everybody has problems, and some of us have more problems than other people. And some people love to talk about their problems. It's a big deal for them. Once you ask them, like, how are you doing? The first thing they do is start talking about their problems. So I want to talk about two things right now. So I'm going to talk really quick about how to gauge your audience. So number one, people don't want to hear about your problems. They have their own problems, so you start to go down that road. Sometimes you're sensitive enough that you can realize, yeah, they're not interested, they're not listening, they're not. I'm going to still say what I need to say, and whether they're interested or not. So that you'll usually have less conversations because nobody will want to talk to you. And so I think it's good to gauge your audience. And there was a thing called Dear Abby. I think her name was Ann Landers. And I remember when I was a young kid, I remember reading an article about exactly this. And one of the things that she was suggesting, and I've done this before, is right in the middle of your conversation, especially if you think they're not listening, just stop talking. And I have done that, like at parties and stuff. I'll just stop talking. Because if you get me talking about my Batmobiles, or you get me talking about cars in general, get me talking about things that I'm interested in, I can talk your ear off. So Ann Landers said, just stop what you're saying and see if they pick up on the conversation. If they don't, then you just don't continue with the conversation. And I've done that, with customers, clients, I've done that with friends, I've done that at parties with people I don't know. I think it is a good gauge, because if they're interested, they'll say, oh, what were you saying about that? And if they're not interested, they won't even talk, you won't even hear anything, or sometimes they'll try to escape you. So I think that's a good way to gauge it. Another thing about this, and I think this is from Zig Ziglar, I've listened to so many different things, I'm not always sure, where I heard this at, but it had to do with door locks. And it's a different way of looking at problems and bringing problems into the sales presentation. It's never a good idea. Customer has its own problems, and you're there to help them solve a problem, which is to get a pool. So a lot of times, on these cars, you notice that they have door locks on them. And it seems kind of silly in a way, because if you wanted to break into a car, you just break the window. They're actually doing that quite a bit in San Francisco. So really, does that door lock really help? I even have a neighbor across the street from me. He leaves his door unlocked because the windows are so expensive to replace on his Mini Cooper. He always has it unlocked. Sometimes the windows are down, so people can get in there, but there's nothing in there to steal. So he looks at your problems as like a lot of little devils, you know, that are always going around your head, and they're very concerning for you, but most people don't care about them. So when you're sitting in the car getting ready to go into the house, you can either do one of two things. You can go in with your problems and you start talking about your problems, and you will not sell that pool. Or you can leave your problems in your car. And that's what the door locks are for. Because even though they can look out the windows, they can't open those door locks. So when you have a problem, you have all your problems, what you want to do is you want to get them looking in one direction, and then as they're looking in that direction, you want to be able to have them you want to be able to slip out. Sorry about that, I had to accelerate on the off-ramp. Nobody was letting me in, so I just passed them all. So what you do is you get them looking in another direction, and then while they're looking in that direction, you open the door, you lock the door, and you shut the door closed. Quick, you got to do it really quick. Now when you look back and they realize what you did, you're going to see your problems looking at you inside the car. They got their nose pushed up against the glass. They got their hands pressed up there. They're feel bad, like a little puppy dog. You know, they wanted to come with you, but they're not able to. They're in your car. So they're going to be safe there, because believe me, when other people see your problems, they're not going to break in your car to get your problem. So that's the advantage of having door locks. That's why you have door locks on a car, is so that you can lock your problems inside there. Nobody will steal them. They will still be there when you're done with the presentation, but you don't want to bring them into the house. Nobody is interested in your problems or stealing your problems. They got their own problems. And so I always thought that was a great analogy, and I always try to keep that in my mind, because a lot of times something happens and you really feel like, I need to tell somebody. You do, but not your customers. Maybe instead, maybe you can tell YouTube, and you got people that are either watching, or maybe they're not watching, or maybe they're clicking off. But that's why I think it's great therapy, because I get a chance to just say what I want to say, and who knows, maybe that someday somebody will wade through all of these when I'm gone to heaven. They're going to wade through all of these videos to find out what Dave was really talking about. So remember, problems are something that nobody wants. Everybody has problems, and just keep your problems to yourself when you're in sales, because believe me, they're not gonna care. I mean, I remember there was a situation where there's a particular pool suite, and if you would to sell 10 of those, then the manufacturer would send you on a trip to Hawaii. Now this isn't like a great Hawaiian trip. This is like used to be called Pleasant Hawaiian, but it was pretty basic as you could get to get over to Hawaii and spend a week there. If you sold 10 more for a total of 20, you could actually take a friend or your wife or your girlfriend. But these are not the kind of trips my wife will want to go on. She would just tell me, I will pass on that one. So the manufacturer, set this up, and the motivation is that you sell 20 of them if you're going to take somebody with you. I remember going into appointments, and the salesman from the other company, they'd have like 2 of these. They were salt generators, I believe is what they were, and he would have 2 of them on a pool. You only need 1. And so I knew right away he's selling them so that he can go to Hawaii. And then he would even tell the customer, yeah, I hope I sell this pool to you because I'm only 2 salt generators away from going on a trip to Hawaii. And this was a competing company. And I was like, oh my God, what the heck are you doing? And nobody cares that they're going to pay $5,000 for 2 salt generators so you can go to Hawaii. Okay, they don't care about that. But that's some of the competition I used to run up against. And so, nobody wants to hear your problems. Everybody has problems. You might have a few friends that will listen to your problems, but even at some point they'll say, I like you, Dave, but can you talk about something else because you're depressing me. You'd be the type of person that you could brighten up a room by just leaving. All right, well, thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a great day.